So, welcome to Fun with Heroes. This is the session 20, the episode 20 of Fun with Heroes. Yeah. So, now this week we are going to cover again four amazing people. So, let's see who they are, and I hope you know some of them. Yeah. So, so these are the four people we are going to cover. Yeah. We have three gentlemen, one.
Uncle, I know first one.
Who is first one? Yeah. Tell me. Who is this one?
Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan.
Yes, he is Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan. Yes, yes, that's good, very good. So, and yeah, he was a very important figure in the freedom struggle. And we have two or rather three freedom fighters and one person from army, as it is obvious from his uniform, and amazing stories we have. Okay, and the lady also did amazing work. Actually, she did a lot of things. We'll come to that story today. So let's start with our session. Okay. So first story is we have Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan. Okay. Was born on 6th February 1890 in Uttamzai, which is present day Peshawar region of Pakistan. So that was a part of the unified India at that time. So uh, now story of Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan is that, and he was also known as Badsha Khan or Bacha Khan. Okay. So after his initial studies in that region, he was offered the position in the Corps of Guides, okay, which is a regiment of the British Indian Army operating in the Northwest Frontier Province, which is basically the uh, Peshawar region right now, which is a border of Afghanistan, right? So he belonged to that, and that was a British unit of British Indian Army. So initially, he wanted to be a part of that. He cleared the exams and other things, but after given the position or commission, he refused that, realizing that even those officers were still second-class citizens in their own country. So even in the British Army, okay, the Indian officers were not given the equal status of that of British officers. So he refused that because he didn't like that part. And this was very early in his age. Like by the age of 20, he did that. At the age of 20, what he did is he opened a mosque school in his hometown. Okay, he belonged to that Peshawar region. So there, it's a hilly region, right? So where not much educational okay, access was that. So he started a school in a mosque there, and over the time he became a prominent Pashtun leader who worked towards the social upliftment of
Pashtun means?
Pashtun is a tribe basically of the Afghanistan Peshawar region. Okay, the people who stayed there. So it's one of the tribes there. So he was a leader of that tribe. Okay, so he worked for them. Okay, and those were socially backward tribes because they were part of the hilly region and they were disconnected from the mainland. Okay, so he over the time he became a very important leader of those people. Okay. In 1928, he met Mahatma Gandhi, and he liked the ideas of Mahatma Gandhi for non-violence and satyagraha, and he himself founded something called a Khudai Khidmatgar, which is basically in English it is a servants of God. Okay, that movement he started in 1929. Okay, and the Khudai Khidmatgar was basically of the Pashtun. Okay, of that area. He involved a lot of them, and similar to the satyagrahas that were happening in the major parts of India, like Mumbai, Delhi, and other regions. He started the similar thing in Peshawar region and other areas. Okay, and they are commonly known as the red shirts because they were wearing the uniform was of a red shirts and trousers. So, and that movement attracted many traditional Pashtun families, and they joined the non-violent struggle against the British. So, as we discussed earlier, of different people. So the struggle against the British is a multifold, right? There was a lot of people working or doing that thing in different parts of the country. In Bangladesh, the present day Bangladesh, which is a Chittagong, and other places, people were doing something else. In Bengal side, people were doing something. Okay, in Northeast also, we saw the story of that lady that. Some tribes are fighting that thing in Odisha. Also, some other movement was going on. Similarly, in this side of India, That was unified India, which is right now Pakistan. Another movement was going on, which was led by Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan. So he did that. He actively participated in the salt satyagraha. So salt satyagraha happened in like Gujarat. Okay, but the similar movement was also done in the Peshawar region by Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan that time, and he was arrested multiple times. He was imprisoned several times between 1920 to 1947. Okay, and because of his close association with Mahatma Gandhi, and he believed in the same principles of non-violence, he was often called Frontier Gandhi or Sarhad ke Gandhi. Okay, because it's वो frontier region पे काम करते थे, right? The border पे he was working on that border side of the India, so that's why he was called the Frontier Gandhi. And he was member of the Constituent Assembly representing the Northwest Frontier Province region, and he was actually one of the person who opposed the partition, okay, partition of India, because he knew after partition his region will be part of the Pakistan, and he didn't want that. So he opposed the partition, but ultimately a partition happened. So he felt a sense of betrayal by, by the hands of both India and Pakistan. So after the partition, uh, he lived in the Pakistan, and he formed the Pakistan's first opposition party on 8th May 1948, which is called Pakistan Azad
Position
Party.
party means?
So okay, any government, okay, there is a ruling party, right? And there is a party which is not in power, okay, which is a opposition party. So right now, if you see, there is the government led by Narendra Modi is a ruling party, and there is other parties, okay, which led by other leaders are not in power, which is the opposition party. In the initial days when in India government was formed, the party of the Congress party of Jawaharlal Nehru was a ruling party, okay, because it had a prime minister, other important positions, and there were others who were in the opposition that time. So similarly, like you might be knowing, Atal Bihari Vajpayee was and Shyama Prasad Mukherjee were the opposition leaders that time. So in Pakistan, the ruling party was Muhammad Ali Jinnah, who was the ruler there, right, after the partition. So and the Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan was the leader of the opposition that time. Uh, he formed his party, Pakistan Azad Party, and again after that also he was arrested multiple times, and finally he crossed the border and lived in Afghanistan. He went to Afghanistan and spent his last days in Afghanistan, not in Pakistan actually. And in 1987 he became the first non-Indian to be awarded Bharat Ratna. Okay. So yeah, he belonged to the unified India, but after partition, he stayed in Pakistan and in Afghanistan, and he was first non-Indian to be awarded Bharat Ratna for his amazing work for the both India and Pakistan and other countries. So that's the story of Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan. So these are the pictures of him with Gandhiji, with Pandit Nehru. Okay, and you can see he was fairly tall guy actually. He was a fairly tall, okay, like 6 feet plus person, but and a very strongly built because he belonged to the mountain region, right? So normally the mountain region people are quite strong physically. So, and he was an amazing person. The next story we have is Manmat Nath Gupta, and I'm pretty sure you have not heard his name before, and even I didn't know about him some time back. So that's the amazing story of this is that we'll come to that the important part of his story. We'll start from his birth, that he was born on 7th February 1908 in Banaras, which is Varanasi. Okay. And he was admitted to Kashi Vidyapit for study, which was a very prominent college that time. At a very young age, at 13 years, okay, he joined the freedom movement as a volunteer of the Indian National Congress and participated in non-cooperation movement, which was launched by Gandhiji in 1919. Okay, during the 1919-1922, the non-cooperation movement was going on. So he was very young at that time. So like Bhagat Singh and other people, he also joined that movement at a very young age of 13 years. And when the movement was stopped in 1922 after the Chauri Chaura incident, he was not happy, okay? And he was disappointed at a young age. So he joined the HRA, which is a Hindustan Republican Association. So some of you might be knowing the HRA is a organization founded by Ram Prasad Bismil, Chandrasekhar Azad, and others, right? Ashfaqullah Khan, and there are other people, okay, revolutionaries.
Bhagat Singh?
Bhagat Singh came later on. Okay, Bhagat Singh came after some time basically. So initially it was formed by these people, and then Bhagat Singh came and he converted HRA into HSRA, which is Hindustan Socialist Republican Association. Okay, so so initially it was Ram Prasad Bismil, Chandrasekhar Azad, Roshan Singh, and others, and Manvatnath Gupta was one of them. So so it was basically Manvatnath Gupta who introduced Chandrasekhar Azad to Ram Prasad Bismil. Okay, he knew Chandrasekhar Azad in Banaras, so he introduced them, and now the HRA was a revolutionary organization, very underground that time. So of course, for the revolution activities, they needed fund, they needed money. Okay, because they were armed struggle, they were doing armed struggle, so they wanted to buy uh, uh, guns and bombs and other things, and they needed money for that. They come up with the idea, like we discussed during the Roshan Singh story, that they will they will attack a train and loot the government treasury. Government treasury means the British government treasury. Okay, British government was collecting taxes and gold and everything, and they would transport through a train. So they decided that we'll attack a train, will loot that money and use it for our struggle. So on 9th August 1925, they executed their plan to loot the this government treasury or government khajana basically, and they stopped the train near Kakori. Kakori is a station before Lucknow. So they pulled the chain. They were boarding. Okay, some of them were boarded in the train. They pulled the chain, and then they attacked that. There is a box basically which was carrying the all the money and everything. So they attacked that thing. So and Manvatnath Gupta was one of them, and he was the youngest one of them. Okay, he was not even a adult actor; he was a teenager at that time. Who so what happened that because while this was going on, uh, uh, the British police came close. Okay, they started firing. So Gupta accidentally killed a passenger while he was firing against the British police. He accidentally killed a Parsi passenger. Okay, by accident while this was going on, and after that they all went away. Okay, they went to different places. But what happened that within a month, and this actually uh, infuriated the British Empire, because they didn't like this thing. Someone came and looted their treasury. So they went after all the people. They arrested everyone except Chandrasekhar Azad. Most of them were arrested. Gupta was also arrested. Okay, but and everyone was ultimately sentenced to death. Either they were killed or they were hanged. Okay, so even Chandrasekhar Azad died sometime later. But Gupta was very young that time. He was a teenager, so he was not sentenced to death, but he was sentenced to jail, and he was in jail for 14 years. Okay, for 14 years he was kept in jail, and then he was released, and then he started writing against the British. Okay, now he was adult. He started his own publications. So he was again arrested, and he was sent to cellular jail in Andaman. So he was again sent there. Ultimately, he was released in 1946. Okay. After that, India was again by the time India was going to be independent nation then. So he was a prolific writer actually. He wrote more than 120 books in Bengali, Hindi, and English, and worked as a editor and other places basically. He also worked with the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. He also edited Planning Commission magazine, which is named the Yojana. He also wrote books for children, okay, and Hindi language magazines. Okay, so a lot of things he did after that. So he was the last one of that Kakori robbery who died. Okay, he was the only one who survived actually and lived till 2000. 2000. And he wrote one book which is called The Lived Dangerously. This one book he wrote actually, where he described the story of all the revolutionaries. Okay, this is a very rare book actually, and very rare perspective, because he was the only one who survived. Okay, so he at this in this book he provided the perspective of the all the revolutionaries and how they worked actually. Then, so, a very important figure he is. Okay. The next story we have is
You
Field
told
Marshal.
us about someone extra a little before.
Yes, yes, yeah. I told about him when we discussed Field Marshal Cariappa. So, so there are only two field marshals we have in Indian Army or Indian military. One is Field Marshal Cariappa, and other one is Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw. Actually, Sam Manekshaw was the first one to be promoted to the rank
Field
of.
Marshal is the highest title, right?
Yes, Field Marshal is the highest title in Indian military force. Yes. So he was the first one. Sam Manekshaw was the first one. So what is his story? So, his name is Shamsherji Hormuzji Fremji Jamshedji Manekshaw. Okay, he was a Parsi basically. And he was born on 4th April 1914 in Amritsar. So yesterday was his, rather. So his birthday was there. Okay. So he was born in Amritsar, and he was popularly known as a Sam Bahadur. Okay. And there is a movie actually coming out on him sometimes this year, okay, by the same name, Sam Bahadur. Okay. So now he graduated from IM Indian Military Academy on 4th February 1934 and was commissioned as a second lieutenant in British Indian Army. That time it was a British Indian Army. And during World War II, he fought in Burma, okay, under the British Indian Army, and he was a part of the 12th Frontier Force Regiment. Now, during the partition, his regiment, which was a 12th Frontier Force, went to Pakistan. So he was reassigned to 16th Punjab Regiment and became part of the Indian Army. And he was later promoted to the rank of brigadier and became the first Indian director of the military operations. Okay. Now, as a general command officer, commanding in chief of Eastern Command, okay, he successfully handled insurgency in Nagaland. So he was in charge of the Nagaland and other eastern region. Okay, so he acted against the rebel forces that time. And on 7th June 1969, ultimately Sam Manekshaw became the 8th Chief of Army Staff. Okay, he became the Chief of Army, and he was the 8th Chief of Army Staff. And now the greatest role of Sam Manekshaw came during the 71 war with the Pakistan, because at that time he was the Chief of Army Staff, okay, when the war happened, and he played a huge role as the Chief of Army Staff during 71
Is he
war.
an Indian?
Yes, yes, he's an Indian. He's a Parsi. Yes, and he was born in Amritsar. Yes, and so during the war with Pakistan, he was the chief of army. So ultimately, he commanded everything. Right? He laid out the strategies and he led India to the victory. And that the ultimate result of this 71 war was the creation of Bangladesh. Okay, the war actually started on the eastern front, which was the East Pakistan that time, right? So there was a lot of internal rebellion going on against the Pakistan from the eastern region, and India had to ultimately jump in, okay, because Pakistan attacked India that time. So India had to counter attack, and in 16 days, okay, war started on 3rd December. On 18th December, war ended in 16. In the 15 days, basically, Pakistan was divided into basically the Bangladesh was created separately, and that Sam Manekshaw played a very important
East
role.
Pakistan, Bangladesh is called before, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Before 1971, okay, it was East Pakistan. Now we call it a Bangladesh. Yes, it was, now it became a separate nation. Okay. And the career of Sam Manekshaw actually lasted for 5 decades, 4 decades and 5 wars. Actually, he was a part of 5 wars, and even after his retirement, he did a lot of honorary services, and he was awarded Padma Vibhushan in 1972, okay, for his civil services. And in 1973, or 1st January 1973, he was promoted to the rank of Field Marshal, which is the highest rank in Indian Army, and he was the first Indian Army officer to be promoted as a Field Marshal. Okay, and he is, by many accounts, he is considered the greatest Indian military officer. Okay, so his story is an amazing story. Okay, and he then retired and lived in near Bangalore in Coorg. And the amazing part is, even during the partition of India, and we know the story of Kashmir, right? Kashmir came late to India, and that there was a Maharaja Hari Singh who ultimately signed the agreement to become a part of India. So when this happened, okay, it was Sam Manekshaw who was in Srinagar, okay, when the Maharaja Hari Singh agreed to become a part of India. So Chiang Mai-Shek was there as well. Okay, when this was happening. Okay, 1947. So he saw a lot of things. He contributed a lot to India. Okay, that's the amazing story of Chiang Mai-Shek. And the last, okay, these are the pictures we have. So you can see him with the Indira Gandhi. Indira Gandhi was the prime minister during the 1971 war. She also played an amazing role there, and both of them actually combinedly resulted in the victory of India. And you can see the right hand side the photo of Shaiman Exo in his full military gear, and the what you say see in his hand, okay, this baton, okay, you see the stick, okay, that baton is a baton of field marshal. Only field marshal can have this thing. It's a baton, okay, so that he is carrying that. So that's the story of Simon Exo. The last story we have is of Kamala Devi Chattopadhyay. Amazing lady she was. So she was born on 3rd April 1903. Okay. Okay. And, just a second. We made a one mistake. I'll just like to cover. Okay. So Sam Manekshaw was born on 3rd April, not the 4th April. Okay. There is a by mistake we mentioned here. Okay. He was born on 3rd April yesterday. So Kamala Devi Chattopadhyay was also born on 3rd April in 1903 on Bangalore as a Kamala Devi Dhareshwar. And she was a very rebellious lady since the childhood. Now, uh, as per the tradition of those era, she was married at the age of 14, but she became widow very soon. Okay. And defying the social norms that time, she married again. Okay, so widow remarriage was not common that time, but she did that, and she married to Radhanath Chattopadhyay, despite a lot of opposition from the society at that time. And uh, through her second marriage, she was associated with the theater and the art. Okay, the theater means the stage. Okay, the drama and skits that happen, right? And that played a major role in her life. She became an actor and a performer, and she used the stage to promote social issues. She was also a social reformer, so she used her acting abilities and her skits to promote social issues. Okay. And she was associated with the leaders like Gopal Krishna Gokhale, Annie Besant, and who provided her social inspiration. She also met Mahatma Gandhi during the civil disobedience movement during the Dandi March, okay, 1930, and she convinced Gandhiji to involve women in the satyagraha. Because of her involvement, uh, women participated in Dandi March. Okay. So that as a social reformer, she did, especially of the women empowerment, she did a lot of work. She was a founding member of the All India Women's Conference, okay, in 1926. Now, during the partition, when there was a lot of refugees were coming back to India, and so she took care of those rehabilitations and the border. Okay, she worked tirelessly along with a lot of other people. She also involved in those social activities and helped them learn new skills, employed them in different professions. Okay. She took special interest in the reviving and nurturing India's craft traditions, and she established All India Handicrafts Board and headed it for 20 years. So she revived the handicraft after the once the India became independent. She saw that there is a lot of scope in and a lot of uh, economy involved with the handicraft. So she revived the Indian handicraft after independence. She also helped create and nurture Sangeet Natak Academy and the India International Center because she was associated with theater and arts. So she had a special interest in those. So she created those institutes. Okay. And she was driving force behind the Renaissance, basically reviving the Indian handicraft, handloom, theater, and a lot of other things in independent India. She played a lot of amazing different roles in the different fields and in the social aspects. Revived a lot of Indian uh, cultural institutions, basically. And she was conferred Padma Vibhushan in 1987 for her exemplary services to the country. And she was the in 1926, actually, she was the first woman to run for the legislative seat, basically to fight an MLA election, okay, in Madras Assembly in 1926. So she was the first one to contest.
Mangalore is in Karnataka, right?
Yeah, Bangalore is in Karnataka,
No, Mangalore.
Mangalore is also in Karnataka. Yes, yes, it's a border. Okay, it's near Udupi. Bangalore is actually the one of the bigger cities of Karnataka. It's near Udupi. It's a yeah, sea town basically. Okay, it's facing the Arabian Sea. Yeah, yeah. So that's the amazing story of Kamaladevi Chattopadhyay. So with this, we are, and this is the Google Doodle actually. During one of her birthdays, Google honored her with this doodle. You can see it showcased the different arts and traditions that she revived actually, from the handicraft to music to different form of dances and Natak Academy, everything she was involved in. So that was the honor given to her. So now we know these four people. We have Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, we have Shyam Manekshaw, we have Kamaladevi Chattopadhyay, and Manvat Nath Gupta. So that's the amazing story we done today. So now this week we don't have any quiz. I was not able to create the quiz for that. But as I mentioned, next week we'll have the Kahoot type quiz. So we'll keep that ready. So thank you again, and yeah, do ask me if you have any questions. You you didn't understand anything, or any other doubt you have. So do